All right, what's going on, guys? So we've read through the Declaration of Independence. We've read through um, the Constitution, and now we're going to start reading through the Bill of Rights. Now, this book it includes the Bill of Rights and Amendments 11 through 27. So we're going to start out by reading the intro to this section, which kind of explains to us the context, right? So passed by Congress September 25th, 1789, ratified December 15th, 1791. So Congress of the United States begun and held at the city of New York on Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1789. The conventions of a number of the states, having at the time of their adoption of the Constitution expressed a desire, in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the beneficent ends of its institution. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America, and Congress assembled 2/3 of both houses concurring, that the following articles be proposed to legislatures of the several states as amendments to the Constitution of the United States, all or any of which articles, when ratified by 3/4 of the said legislatures, to be valid to all intents and purposes as part of the said Constitution. Articles in addition to and amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America proposed by Congress and ratified by the legislatures of the several states pursuant to the 5th article of the original Constitution. So basically all this is saying is that the reason that the amendments were written, and they were written because the states wanted to prevent the misconstruction or abuse of the powers of the Constitution. So, keeping in mind that the Constitution was written to restrict government power, right? It was written to give the government the framework within which they're allowed to operate. It was not written to give us our rights, okay? It was written to recognize our rights and restrict the government from restricting our rights. And so this was saying that these amendments were written to further solidify our rights so that nobody could misconstrue what the Constitution was saying about the government's authority, right? To prevent abuse of its powers. Cool. So we're going to start with Amendment 1. And honestly, I'm just going to do one quick little video for each amendment. These aren't going to be long moving forward, I don't think. If I have thoughts about them, I'll give you my thoughts. If I don't, I don't. But Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Man, there's a lot going on, I guess, already in Amendment 1. So Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So freedom of religion. So First Amendment is freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and freedom of the press. Oh, and freedom to protest and freedom to assemble. And we're seeing actually some restrictions of all of these under the current administration. So first and foremost, the first thing that pops to mind is Trump's new, what is it called? Like office of the White House's new office of faith or something like that. The whole point of this office is to fight anti-Christian bias. It is a office specifically built to benefit Christianity and Christianity only. Okay, we've got Oklahoma has already passed some laws requiring the Bible be taught in schools. Idaho is trying to pass laws to make the Bible mandatory education in public schools. And we have a whole lot. See, another place where this applies is just in the laws themselves that are being passed, right? Laws in a secular government, we should not have. In any way, shape, or form, we should not have any religious bias in our laws. that Congress is passing. And I've talked with a lot of conservatives who are pro-life, right, and vote right consistently because of the right's stance on abortion specifically and women's health, right? And that's like the whole anti-abortion thing is based on religion. So the whole country, like when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, so now the whole country is in this place where each state is allowed to make these very religious-based laws that are just very anti-human, and that's a big problem. But free speech, people are being fired from their jobs right now as we speak because they aren't loyal to Trump, right? Because they're voicing their opinions against the Trump administration and Musk and things like that, trying to stand up to them. The folks who, there are folks in the Treasury Department and USAID and the Education Department that have attempted to stand up to Musk, and they got put on a leave of absence, and then they got retired, or they just got fired as a result of doing that, right? That's hampering free speech. And then freedom of the press, the AP, well, actually, a bunch of news organizations were just rotated out of the White House and replaced with organizations such as like The Blaze. And then the White House barred the AP from entering press conferences and stuff like that. I think there was State of the Union, something was going on in the Oval Office, and they wouldn't let the AP in because APs, according to the AP style guide, they are required to use the Gulf of Mexico and not Gulf of America. And because they refused to use Gulf of America, again, stifling free speech, and at this point also stifling freedom of the press. So now, so far, we haven't seen anything where they're stifling the people's freedom to peaceably assemble. We'll see whether or not that happens. But anyway, that's the First Amendment. It's the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, and the freedom to peaceably assemble to petition the government for a redress of grievances.